Any update on Khalil Garland's status?
No update yet. Obviously summer months and summer school's going on, and but still hadn't been cleared for to actually play.
Are you still hopeful?
Yes, yeah, very hopeful.
What's your thought process?
Yeah, very
on
hopeful. We just see what takes place as the summer goes on, and we get into the fall, and we'll see where we're at that point in time.
I think you guys' name was on the list of attendees for the Puerto Rico Tip-Off Classic, and then it went away. Are you guys playing in that?
At this point in time, we're not. No, we're not playing in the Puerto Rico Classic.
Is there any new non-conference games that you can talk about?
Not at this point. We obviously the Texas, the opening game that we're playing, Armed Force Classic out in El Paso against University of Texas. That is. We're also in the process of learning who, of course, Big 12 SEC Challenge that'll be coming up this year as well. We also got to go to Colorado State. That's where we'll play those guys. But we're right there at the cusp of really kind of hammering out our schedule right now.
When are the incumbent freshmen scheduled to report?
All the freshmen are going to be coming in here at the end of the month. We have a meeting on the 28th at 8 o'clock, and summer school starts on the 29th. So we anticipate all of them being here.
Is Mason Jones being here then too? Your JUCO
Yes. As of right now, everyone will be here.
I think it's the first time we've talked to him since he signed. What do you think he adds to the table for you?
I think what he brings is a 6'5" rebounding guard that can score, shoot the basketball. A guy who's, I think, has the best basketballs in front of him. I think he's a late bloomer, one of those guys that is a late bloomer, and I think already having a year of prep school, postgraduate prep school that he went to there in Branson, and then, of course, having a chance to go over to Connors and play and get them to the NJCA tournament, national tournament. He has 3 years left, so we're looking for a guy that, he's had a couple of years of experience, and he can come in and help our team. Big-sized guard that can come out and put the ball in the hole. We got to have some guys put it in the hole.
I don't know, Dudley or Richard reported you guys signed the big kid, Ibi Ali. Can you talk about him? Or is that
Yes. He's someone that we have been familiar with. And, of course, he set out last year, decommitted from Baylor, got out his letter, and obviously the interest was there on his part in terms of coming here, and same here. And a guy that, I think, when you look on down the line, he has a chance to, a guy that's 6'10", about 230 and 235, real imposing sized guy. And I think, he's started basketball about 4 or 5 years ago, and I just think he has some tremendous potential. His work ethic, from what I know, is really good. So having him to come at this point in time, this summer, we'll get a chance to find out a little bit more about him in terms of where he's at right now, getting into the weight, strength, and conditioning program. We can work out with our guys during the summer months individually for individual workouts for 8 weeks, 4 hours a week. So that gives you a chance to bring these guys in and let's get a little bond in with them and find out a little bit more about our team. But they won't be the only ones here. Daniel will be here, Adriel Bailey will be here, Khalil will be here, Gabe Usaborn will be here. So all the guys that are returning, Jalen Harris will be here. So we'll have all those guys in place.
How does he compare maybe to what Moses was? As a guy that hadn't played basketball.
I think there's some similarity, and like I said, I'm anxious to get him on campus to even see where he's at in terms of just having an opportunity to come and play and get repetition. I think that's going to be big. I think we saw the progression of Moses, and I think you can see something similar in that. You have to play the game. You look at guys like Bobby Portis. He's a guy that's been playing basketball all his life. So his instincts are totally different than, let's say, a guy that's just been introduced. Those guys have probably played soccer most of their life. So hopefully footwork is something they can do. They can run the floor, and the athlete can block some shots, rebound. And now let's learn the little intricacies of the game. And the only way you're going to do that, you got to experience it.
Have you had a chance to talk with Jalen about his combine experience yet?
Had not had a chance to talk to Jalen yet. I think he was probably getting back yesterday, late last night. Hadn't had a chance to talk to him.
How do you think he did at the combine? How do you think he did at the combine?
I'm hopeful he did well. I thought he was prepared going in there. You know, obviously to me, for him, it was big kudos to him. You know, having a chance to go out to Portsmouth and become the MVP of that, and he earned the right to go to the combine. So hopefully, all it takes is one team to see you and like you. And but I think he was prepared going up there, and we'll see what happens.
The fact he had a good tournament in Portsmouth and then got invited to the combine, that's a big deal just to get invited. I mean, how do you think that, what does that mean for him maybe moving forward?
Oh, I think it's only positive because now you got more people seeing him. You think about all the NBA teams, they were all there at the combine. He had a chance to interview with some of them before he went up there to the combine, and I'm sure he picked up some other teams that wanted him to come and combine. You know, I've talked to a lot of people, and they like what he brings to the table, and I think eventually he's going to end up in the league. Who knows? Maybe get drafted, but at this point in time, it's just, you know, hopefully he had a good showing up there.
How important is a day like today for you, for what you want to do in the community?
Oh, it's so big. This is my 5th year, you know, having the charity golf tournament, and it just continues to grow. The people here at Shadow Valley are first class, and we keep getting, you know, guys coming back. You know, Coach Richardson came out today. Got John Daly here today. Guys giving, man. We got Dennis Nutt from Ouachita up here today. Bobby Portis, he don't even play golf, but he comes out and supports it, and I think that's big. Todd Day, Lee, Oliver Miller, Brandon Dean, you know, some guys that have played here in the past, and Blake Adams. But to me, it's all about our people in our communities, people that sponsor. Got some guys that have been on board with me since we started this year, and it continues to grow, and it's an opportunity for us to give back. You know, with the Children's Hospital, whether it be the prostate cancer, is something that I'm a big proponent of. You know, I just went to Mike Sly's memorial service, and he was a big proponent of that. You know, prostate cancer is something that's in my family. It's something that's real dear to me. So if I can help raise funds for that, then I'm all for it, and that's what we're doing here.
Mike, what are some of your thoughts on Mike's life?
Oh, a great man. I thought he was a visionary. I thought he was a forward thinker. I think if you look at what he did, I was in Conference USA with Mike Sly, and obviously brilliant man, and he brought that league up. If you think about the Conference USA back in those days, Cincinnati, Louisville, and I was at UAB. Memphis was in it. I mean, it was a great league. And I think when you think about the resurgence of basketball in the SEC, he had a lot to do with it. I thought he had put an emphasis on basketball. We met with him I think it was every September. I mean, all the coaches convened, even after the meetings in Destin during May. We would go back up in September and sit down in October and meet with the commissioner and talk about the things that we can do to help elevate the brand in SEC basketball. And voila, we got 8 teams that were in the SEC, in the NCAA tournament this year, and I think it's going to only get better. So his impact, I think one of the points was brought up even at the memorial service, talked about how much the revenues, the revenue stream kind of went up with Mike Sly there in place there, and it made a lot of guys happy, made a lot of ADs happy, a lot of universities happy, but more than that, he was a down-to-earth kind of guy.
You took in softball the other day. What do you think about what they're
Oh, it's cool. Oh man, it was a great atmosphere, man. I'm so proud of those young ladies and what Coach is doing over there. It's remarkable, and I don't think they're through yet. But it's a great atmosphere. Again, you look at the sports. You know what Coach Van Horn is doing. I mean, it's a great time to be up on the hill.
Have they moved to Puerto Rico tip off to the states yet, or are y'all still?
I don't know. We're not. We talked about that earlier. We're not going to be in it this year.
Is that a disappointment to not be in that? Or?
Well, you know, there are some things that happen, and some natural things that take place that, you know, we don't have control over, and it's unfortunate what took place there, and I'm sure they will eventually get the tournament back there. I don't know where it'll be at this year, but I'm sure they'll get it back.
Is it too late to get another exempt event, or is that?
We're working on it. We're that's a work in progress in terms of getting another exempt.
So you're hoping to?
Yes.
That, okay.
Yes.
And you've mentioned, you know, Todd Day's up here. He's
Yes.
been at Philander Smith a couple of years, kind of breaking in on the college level. Well, what do you thought about the job Todd's doing? What do you think about him being in college coaching?
I think he's doing a great job. I think Todd Todd obviously played here at the University of Arkansas. And I always say any guy that played here, he should go have a chance to go and coach. I mean, with Coach Richardson instilled in all his players, teaching the game. You know, don't just teach it from the guard standpoint, the forward standpoint. I think teach it from a player standpoint and how you deal with people, how you deal with coaches. And you think about Todd even as a player. You know, how do you deal with somebody like you, Todd Day? So, and I think it says a lot about him in terms of what he's doing and making a difference there in Little Rock.
You think he could move up the ranks?
Absolutely. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, Dusty Hannes is here too. They had a pretty solid season in Memphis. You think he could make an NBA roster pretty soon?
That's his mindset. Dusty's one of those guys, man. He's going to keep working and working until he's wearing out our practice gym. I know that. He is over there every day working out with our strength and conditioning coaches. And so Dusty, he's on a mission. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but Bobby's here. He actually obviously had a rough start to the season being on suspension, but then once he started playing, man, he played pretty well.
Well, sometimes you go through some things. I always keep saying that it's you're gonna have some adversity. How do you deal with it? And if you think about him, I mean, he used that and fueled that, and I think and we saw him have one of his best years this year, and I think it's gonna pay off for him because to me it's not that initial contract when you get in there. It's that next contract, and that's what he's working on. So I'm so proud, of him just getting through that, and then going out and doing what Chicago brought him up there to do, and that is to be a contributor to their program. And I think the city of Chicago, they love Bobby Portis.
You think he's a good fit? It's a hard work. It's a kind of a working class, hard-boiled town. How do you think Bobby fits?
Oh, I think he fits the mold. I think, it's funny because you hear a lot of the players talk, and they talk about how they feed off of Bobby Portis. You can't help but feed off a guy that plays with that kind of energy, that kind of passion. And not only that, if you watch him, his skill level is really elevated. I mean, he looks the part. You guys get a chance to see, hopefully talk to him, but he looks the part of a pro now. He looks the part.
But I know he's shooting on like 35% from three. I mean, where do you think he's really improved his game as a pro?
I think he's gone stronger. I think his want to continues to grow. So a lot of guys make it, and that's it. But I think he's working on every aspect of his game. He's handling the basketball. Like I said, he's shooting it. He's making good basketball decisions. He's a great offensive rebounder. I think he's a great rebounder. And for a guy that size, that's so versatile, I think he adds value to any team.
Including Jalen Harris. I know he was here last year, but he didn't play. You've got, I think, 9 newcomers. And what's that like? Is that a record for you? I know you had a bunch.
That's quite a few. I can't recall a time. I think about. Was it in '96? I think we had a bunch of newcomers. I don't know if we had that. We probably had that many because we lost so many guys here. But that's probably the most I've had. And the great thing about Jalen, we had him on campus here, and he had a chance to go against Darryl and Jalen Barford and those guys throughout the year. And hopefully that's going to give him some kind of experience, give him a little seasoning anyway. So, but I think he's going to impact our team. I think you're going to see him come out and be a real productive player for us.
Did he have? How would you describe his redshirt season? How did you see him evolve?
I thought there were times our guys had problems keeping him in front of him. I mean, he can really get the ball, push the ball down the floor. I think about Kareem Reed back in the day when Kareem was really quick and crafty with the ball. Jalen gives you some of that. So I admit I mess with him sometimes. Say sometimes you don't know where you're going to throw it to, but that's part of what the summer and getting a chance to play with these guys is going to be about.
Is there anything?
What is that summer, that time you get with this team?
I think it's going to be important for this group here. You think back on Daniel. I think that was the biggest difference on Daniel coming up here and getting a regiment started. The weight room, eating right, the individual workouts, going against Bobby and going against Moses during the summer months and Trey Thompson. And I thought that really helped him get more prepared, as we got into practice and into the season. And I think for these young guys coming in, I mean, you got a bunch of guys. Keyshawn, you think about it, Keyshawn Embry, I mean, and we're going to depend on these guys. Isaiah Joe, Ethan Henderson, we're going to depend on Jordan Phillips, Reggie Chaney. We're going to depend on all these guys. There's Seals. So I think it's very important for those guys to come in and get a chance to work with these guys right here.
You're especially young in the backcourt. How do you feel about that, being a former point guard?
Well, I'm anxious to see what these guys bring to the table, and I'll see some of that this summer. But more importantly, just get them comfortable, get them more into what we're doing. And I think the more we get them into it, you can shape them how you want to, and that's going to be a big key. I hope we're going to be a team that can continue to play exciting basketball, be able to score, versatility, have good balanced score, but not only that, be an even more better defensive team. Defensive in terms of how we guard people, how we can extend the floor, our half-court defense. I just want to shape this team into a team that got balance on both sides of the ball.
Is there anything specifically that you're looking forward to finding out about the newcomers?
We recruited those guys based on seeing them in high school, and obviously this is going to be a different level. So we know what the transformation's got to take place is they got to get caught up to the speed of the game, the strength of the game. I mean, how strong people are, physical it is. So the more you get them up here and they go against, we'll have guys like Dusty in town. We'll have guys like Bobby Portis in town. We'll have guys that are playing professional basketball come play against these guys. That way they can get a little seasoning, even in the summer months. So I just think the sooner we get them up here, we can figure out a little bit more about them, see where they are. And at the same time, we can continue to develop and coach them up.
Got a couple new coaches in the league, Tom Crean and Kermit Davis. How well do you know those guys? What do you think about them coming into the league?
Coach Crean was at Marquette when I was at UAB. Had some dynamite teams there. They're going to play up-tempo basketball. He's a good fit down for Georgia. His teams play athletic. Defensively, they get after you a little bit. They want to get up and down the floor. So I think it's a good fit for them. Kermit, a guy that I think he played or coached at Mississippi State. Now he's at Ole Miss, and they left some good players there at Ole Miss, and he'll do a good job. Did a great job at Middle Tennessee.
You got the SEC meetings coming up. Anything you guys are going to discuss or try to talk about with anything?
It's going to be interesting. Obviously, there's some rules being talked about changing, talking about the three-point line, the widening lanes, and I think they did experimental with the NIT. So I'm sure that'll be brought up. We always talk about officiating, so officiating and physical play, that's what we talk about. So nothing specific that I'm aware of, but I'll know once we get there.
I guess Darryl was a little bit disappointed he didn't get a combine invite.
Is he what now?
I guess he was a little bit disappointed he didn't get a combine invite.
Well, I think you use that for fuel. I think that's fuel for you. He had a great 2 years here. I mean, when you think about what he and Barford did, they had 2 great years here, and but use that experience as they try to move on to the next level. It ain't gonna be easy anywhere you go. So, but hopefully he'll use that as fuel and be prepared when he go in and visit with these teams. Because right now, what a lot of the guys get individual workouts. They get a chance to go to different places and hopefully impress those teams and to invite them maybe back to their regular camp or on the summer league team. That's the biggest. If you can, and that's why even when you talk about Jalen, hopefully he can parlay it in to have an opportunity to go and get drafted first of all, and then if not get drafted, be on someone's summer league team so he can showcase it.
Which days you got to softball?
Say it again?
Which days were you at softball?
Saturday, weren't you? Is that Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. Yeah.
All right. Any more questions?